Hello and welcome back to Strongwoman Highs - Life is a Mishmash. Today we have very special guest joining us, Mrs. Claire Myler. Huge accolades within Strongwoman. You are absolutely one of my inspirations. So welcome to the show, Claire. Would you like to give us a little introduction to who you are, what you've done, what you're all about?
Yes. So I am Mrs. Myler, as most people know, or Claire frickin' Myler, as it seems to be now. I think Nick Buchan kind of coined that one. I am, where's the official titles? 3 times world's strongest old bird.
Hell yeah.
So won the over 50s 3 times consecutive. Twice I've tied for points on second and ended up third in the over 40s at the same time. And
Yeah.
then last year, as it is now, I came third in the under 82s, all of those at official Strongman Games. I did have the Masters World Deadlift record, and then Andrea stole it by, I think, like 1.6 kilos or something ridiculous. But hers was an epic pull, so I'll let her off for it. And I know she's wanted it for ages. I like deadlifting. That's probably biggest accolade. Like to deadlift. My back doesn't like the deadlifting right in the moment, but we're doing our best to work around that.
Yeah. One of the is it 4 women to have pulled 300 kilos so far?
Yeah, there's 4 of us. So obviously Lucy, I think we should just disregard Lucy. She's so phenomenal. It's like
so far ahead, isn't she?
it's untouchable. We'll just pretend she doesn't really do it, and we'll all work for second place.
Yeah.
Summer did a 305 after pulling 300 at the same time as me. So she pulled 305 at PSL comp last year. And then Andrea got I think it's 665 or something, whatever it works out to 301.6 kilos.
Yeah.
At the Rogue. But yeah, well deserved on that one. She's epic at pulling. So
100%. Yours will be the over 50 deadlift record though, won't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, technically, if I wanted to, I could probably try and push for the under 82 to try and get past Summer.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan of cutting. I don't have a lot to cut. I mean, I currently sitting between 84 and 85.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit chubby, so it shouldn't
That's
be hard. But
no.
I don't like those last couple of kilos. I quite like. They're like my security blanket, and then my nutrition guy Matt. I don't think he loves me when I go, should we do 82s?
I can't believe you can't get from like 84, 85 to 82, mate. I'm going from 91 to 82.
I mean, I can, and I do it. I think everyone that knows me knows I'm an overthinker and a stressor, and I'm hyper organized, hyper efficient, and you just can't control that. And so the more I stress about it, the more my body goes, oh no, let's not. Let's stay comfortable. And in the end, I make it quite easy when I do it. I just don't like the thought of doing it. Which is often he's a bodybuilder in the past and would like diet until my eyes were falling out.
Yeah, that's one thing I think we'll talk about in a second is your very decorated sports past. But we'll start off with our usual questions. So what has been your Strongwoman high?
Oh, see, now I read this when you said what the questions, and I was sitting there going, oh my God, how do you answer this when you've been through the sport? It's really difficult. So I'm going to say doing the deadlift is obviously got to be up there. It's just that fact, to be, well, at the time it was one of 3. Summer pulled it literally 3 minutes in front of me. And then me. But now sort of one of 4 women in the world to have ever pulled 300 more in comp. Now, there are other women that are going to do it. I'm going to do it soon. But one of the things I'm finding is it's really cool that I seem to have inspired a lot of people to kind of almost, that there was a lot of people sitting at 270, 280, maybe 290. And it's almost like you don't really get that option a lot of time to do a max pull. Like, no, record breakers, I'm going to go for it. And I think maybe people seeing a slightly smaller, middleweight old girl pulling it have gone, well, if she can do it, I can do it. So that's quite cool. That I think I've inspired a lot of people to work harder on their deadlifts. and deadlifts, everyone's improved massively over the last couple of years. It's, seeing everyone coming up, what used to be quite an elite club. And it's like, everyone's like, yeah, I'm coming for 300. You're like, no, go away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the 300's probably got to be, at the top. Obviously, winning the World Strongest Woman titles is massive for me. But oddly, last year, getting the 82, the third, it's kind of hard to explain, but just kind of like, I know this sounds really cocky, so I know I'm the best in the world over 50. I know I am.
Yeah.
I've proved it, so it's not an arrogant statement, but I know I am.
No.
Now it's getting a lot better, and it's getting a lot harder to stay ahead of anyone. Those
Yeah.
girls up and again working harder and seeing it. But to do that in the under 82s as well against, Nadia and Sabrina and stuff is just, that was something special for me.
Yeah.
Even given the fact that I had my 3 worst events in OSG last year.
Yeah.
So, sandbag throwing and that flipping wrecking ball hold.
Yeah.
If they had, because I'm an overthinker again, if it was like 2023 where we only had the sandbag throwing and the stones in the final, so they ditched that god awful wrecking ball hold.
Yeah.
Which is actually not a bad event, just my back doesn't like it. It's like having a stoked in your back. Without those points in the mix, I'd have won.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, now, that's not saying it wouldn't have skewed things in other ways and whatever, but to kind of think that at 52 years old, I could be at that level, that's got to be a high for me.
Yeah, it's super impressive. Me and Jenny have spoke about you at OSG this last year and how impressive it was, because I know, like, when I watched your yoke run, because we competed obviously at Middlesbrough's together last year, and we were both like, fuck this yoke, like this is going to be awful. And I remember looking at the OSG weights and thinking, 290, that's big, that for Claire, like that's going to be. And then you wouldn't know, watching you do that event, you wouldn't have known that was a bad event for you. And I think that's what's so impressive about you as well, is that not only do you just absolutely annihilate the Masters competitions, but you can be with weight classes that are like 20, 25 years younger than you and hold your own and be better than them. And it's so impressive. And again, me and Donna were talking about this the other day, being able to see you at like 52, 53, still at that level, shows everybody, like, right, well, there's no age limit to this sport. It's not like we're going to get to 35, 40, we won't be able to do it anymore. Like, of course we can. Like, you're so important to this sport because you're showing us that there's longevity in it.
Well, the weird thing is for me, it's not necessarily longevity either, because I didn't start it until I was quite old. I dabbled a bit. So everyone says to me, when did you start? And it's hard to say, like, when to start, because I first had a go at strongman in 2018, but like for the first 3 or 4 years, I would. I've got a friend, Kelly Proctor. Kelly.
Yeah.
So Kelly would do it, and so whereas bodybuilding at the time, obviously you go 6 months of the year you're in a deficit, and then 6 months you're getting bigger and you're coming out of prep and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I would at times Kelly would go, "I'm doing this comp, you coming?" And I go, "Yeah, why not?" So I would occasionally pick up stuff in the gym and train things, but there was no structure to it, no organisation. I'd just go, "Oh, I know, let's try that." So I would do comps, and I would do okay at them because I was quite strong through the bodybuilding and just being old in years of sort of training and sport. But it wasn't, I didn't really kind of put my mind and go, I am going to be a strong woman until the start of 2022. So it's not that long.
Which is mad.
Okay, I'm in it. I'm here. I did a Chaos Masters comp, and I was like, this is quite good. I'm not bad at this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mad that that's like the progression in 2 years, just over 2 years from taking the sport seriously. It's so cool. It's so cool to see that that's available for all of us, like coming up and through as well. Like I just think you meant me. I think you meant.
Oddly, when you're going to come on to your next question, that's also the low for me.
Well, so, let's move on to it then. What's your strong woman low?
So the strong woman low for me is I am super, super competitive. Like Ryan laughs about this, everything's like a competition for me. I'm making a cup of coffee is a competition.
Yeah.
And knowing that my age is fighting against me so significantly now, I see where I would want to go and where I do want to go. And I know I'm still progressing, I'm still making massive steps. I'm still getting PBs all the time in new events as I sort of get more experienced in them.
Yeah.
But it's much, much harder. And I'm looking at the things I go, I want to do that. Like, who doesn't want to go on the Arnold stage or the Rogue stage? And I just look and go, even at a middleweight athlete, if I wasn't fighting this, I think I genuinely would have a chance. I came second at the Arnold's amateur last year.
Yeah.
Everyone's going, "Are you going back this year?" And I'm like, I can't. Literally, I know. Well, there's a couple of one of the events are dire for me, but events wise, but also it's tough. You're fighting this progression of when most people have a linear growth. Or like it's roller coaster, it's never directly linear. I mean, they can grow and grow and grow. When you're older and you're fighting, the aging on the body, the hormones, everything else going with it, you don't make the increments. For the effort I put in, I don't get the increments back that I would like. And that's probably the low for me, is that I would want to do so much more, and I have to be realistic about be happy with the achievements you are getting and accept that you're not going to get the achievements that maybe you would like.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Speaking then, just before you were saying about what you'd done previously before starting Strongman, tell us a little bit more about that then, because you've got such a wild background.
So a little bit, I've been all sorts. I mean, being older helps. So when I was younger, so starting at a young age, school age and stuff, I used to do slalom kayaking. I was pretty decent at it, I guess. I got into what they call like the Olympic selection squad. So that's the squad to select the Olympic team from. And I missed like going to the Barcelona Olympics. So that's how old I am, 92. But that was kind of my main sport, which I trained and did everything, and was sponsored and had all the great things going on back then. Stopped that. I then started mountain biking. I raced downhill mountain bikes, crashed a lot, most broken bones and stuff from crashing. Raced some downhill World Cups, so that was pretty cool. So I'm like again up at a world level, doing that. I then stopped, had a bit of a party time for a few years, not a lot. In between that, I also did sort of off-road dirt bike riding, enduros, crashed on those as well. Some triathlons. I'm a really good cyclist. I'm a pretty okay swimmer. I am a shockingly bad runner. So they were never going to be my sport. And then snowboarding, passion, like that. And then I kind of got into racing motorbikes. So I've sort of raced across, different like Spain, Italy, Netherlands, obviously a lot in the UK. I've raced on the road in the Isle of Man, not the TT, but another sort of road circuit over there. Pretty mental speeds. Had a lot more crashes, hence the very broken body. And then kind of retired from that and just started going to the gym a bit. And then through life things, got into bodybuilding. Decided to try and competitive side. Can't just go to the gym.
Can't just be straightforward.
So it was like, I can be a bodybuilder. Again, started that a bit late, bit of a challenge, working against gravity in that sense. But I was mildly average at bodybuilding. Did quite a few shows. Did the Arnold's in 2021 and stuff like that. So pretty cool. And then
so cool. What do you think your favourite sport has been? Like since that you've tried in all of them?
there is nothing on this planet that can beat the adrenaline of racing a motorbike.
I knew you were going to say that.
Like, you can't, sat on a start grid with like 40 other bikes, the noise, the feeling, the vibration, the sounds, the smells, watching a light go out and knowing that literally you're momentarily seconds away from death.
Yeah.
You know, on a grid, you get it wrong, someone hits you, you're dead.
Yeah.
But that adrenaline when you get it right and you nail a corner and you come out and you're just like,
fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's got to be probably up there. But I quite like Strongwoman as well. It's kind of, you know, when you do like a stone run or something and you get to the end and you pop that last stone up and you're just like, yeah, got that.
Yeah, it's a good it's a good content feeling, isn't it? After it getting an event right that you've practiced for ages and ages and ages. What's the top speed that you've ever hit on a motorbike?
It's a bit difficult to think because you change. So your speedo's set for the gearing that comes on a bike. So
Yeah,
they set the gears and the sprockets and stuff. I've recorded on the speedo. I think it was about 182, something like that.
that's mad.
Probably a little bit less than that because of the gearing I had on, but it was definitely like 170 plus. Yeah, 160 is like quite normal.
That is absolutely insane because I ride a motorbike as well. Not like anything like you ever have, but I've my top speed that I've ever managed to see on my speedo is 110, and I'm literally like trying to hold my head still because the force, like that's what I think a lot of people don't understand, the force of the wind hitting you. Like
Yeah,
you're like that, aren't you? Like,
yeah.
oh.
It's a bit different. So if you're
180 is insane.
on a more upright bike, obviously on the sports bike, you're tucked in a little bit more and you've got the screen stuff. And what people don't realise is how fit motorcycle racers are.
Yeah.
It's a bit like the Formula One and stuff like that. The intensity on your body and the effort it takes to do it is hard work.
Yeah. Did you do a lot of gym training while you were doing your motorbike racing as well?
Not massive amounts, to be honest. I've always been kind of because I've always trained and stuff. I've always been moderately fit.
Relatively fit, yeah.
Probably before I started bodybuilding was probably the fittest I did. I would do, I won't say CrossFit, but that kind of workouts.
Yeah.
That was the kind of training I did. I could never do CrossFit because I do not have the flexibility to do some of those movements.
No,
No,
no, definitely not.
I'm not overhead squatting.
You've had way too many broken bones for that.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Oh, amazing. So then looking back then, so it's a bit tricky because with starting Strongman realistically only like 2 years ago, what would you say to yourself now when you first started Strongman?
If I look at it sort of like in the period I've done like strength training, if you like, on that, the importance of mobility, keep yourself more mobile than I ever did. And that's not just stretching, that's functional mobility.
Yeah.
So definitely like functional mobility is something that affects me a lot and I'm trying to improve it. But once you've lost it, it's really quite hard.
Yeah.
So do more of that. Be patient. I'm very impatient. Don't max out all the time. I'm being competitive in my nature. I kind of like my program will go, "Oh, do this," and you go, "How to do that?" Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Maybe if I just do a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, even like I messaged Jenny last night on my RPEs of my deadlifts, and I was like, "Well, I did this way, and it was easy. Could have done loads more." So I went up a weight, and then it felt a bit heavier than it should have been. And she was like, "Yeah, well, you'll learn from that." And I went, "Do you even know me?
Will I?
I will not learn." So be patient, take time, and most of all, just like the same as what I say to everyone else, enjoy it. It horrifies me when I see people who have been in the sport 1 year, 2 years, less, and social media's got a lot to answer for, but post on social media, oh, like a tough session, oh, like hating it, doing this. It's like, it's fun. It's a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have shit sessions.
Yeah.
But if you're hating it, it's not the hobby for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we do it for enjoyment and for fun. And I think sometimes people come into it, and because of social media, you see this, you can see what you can attain.
Mm-hmm.
By all means, take it seriously, be sensible with what you're doing, but have fun, do competitions, do random stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone's on a program.
Yeah. I think because it's such a small sport, it's very easy to come into it and think, oh, it's not that hard to get to the top level. And you almost get a lot of like ego driven people because they see that and think, I can be in this sport for a couple of years and get to the top, and they can be in and out gone. And it's just not, but that's not really what the sport's about. And it's a very demanding sport to just do it for ego. You need to enjoy the actual training, otherwise, you're never going to make it.
It's hard as well because it's kind of, I think it's very easy for an averagely fit, normal human being to get good.
Yeah.
It's very hard to go from good to exceptional.
Yeah.
And at good you can still get to great comps and you do that. But when you get good, kind of accept that and then take those little steps and chunks to get to the point where you get better. Don't just kind of go, I'm here now, look at me. It's hard to just keep pushing and push yourself. People enter comps and then they go, oh, it's a bit heavy, I'm not going to do that one.
Yeah.
As long as you can do 3 or 4 of the events out of 5 or 6, do it. Go heavier comp, push yourself harder. You'll learn more from a comp than any training session.
100%. I agree. I feel like the comps that I've gone to that have been easy wins for me, I don't even think of now. Like, they don't even enter my head. But the comps where I've learned something, or I've just been pipped at the final moment, or I've just lost out on something, they're the ones that like drive me to be better, and they're the ones that you always learn from.
Yeah, and it's it's full of highs and lows. Well, as the podcast suggests. You can go to a comp and you can do everything right, and then you get screwed up. Europe's for me last year. I have to compete against Naomi, but she's like, she's probably one of the most overlooked athletes in terms of profile. She's phenomenal. She's an unbelievable athlete. She ditses about, so everyone thinks, oh, she's ditz. She's not ditz.
No, she knows what she's doing.
And Europe's last year was the only time when I thought, I genuinely think I can beat her. I tied with her on points at OSG the year before.
Yeah.
I 0.13 of a second on the stones to get second place, and it killed me. And Europe's last year, I was on form. I was like, I can do this. I can beat her in this competition. And I spent the night before puking and shitting.
Yeah, it wasn't great, that.
Really, I have never felt so ill. And someone said to me afterwards, oh, like making excuses. I was like, well, it kind of was an excuse. I literally had nothing inside me, nothing in my body, not a bit of energy.
It was quite a valid excuse, though, I feel like.
It was reasonable, yeah. So, yeah, I'm hoping Naomi will decide to go and do something completely different, different
change sport.
Said that Michaela's come back. Vengeance, and Andrea's on a mission, and I'm like, we all just leave this old lady alone. Watching this,
the Masters is picking up so much, isn't it? Like the standard, I think the last few years the standard's been fairly like same level, and then this like last year it's just absolutely skyrocketed up, hasn't it?
Yeah, and obviously Andrea came in like 23 and like did it, I think, just to prove to us just how exceptional she is. It just came in and kind of went, that's how you do it. And then so far Donna's avoided coming to Masters, which is great. Dread that day as well. If you'd all just kind of accept where you are and carry on, that'd be nice.
Leave everyone alone. No, I totally agree. Donna can go to the Masters though, because then it gets her out of under 82s for me.
No. But it's. I mean, it's a great sport. comes with some challenges. There's things I don't like about the sport. I don't like some of the attitudes in some of the things. I think I probably have very different viewpoints. It might be because I'm old on certain things, on the women's sport in particular and what that means. But I think I'm grown up enough that I can have a conversation about them without pissing people.
Yeah. Oh, 1 second. I'm just losing my meeting room. What I'm going to do, Claire, because I've still got questions for you for this interview because I don't want to finish this now. I'm going to go downstairs, see if there's another room that I can book. Have you got a bit of time? Is that all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm free.
A few moments later.
Yeah.
Is that a frog or a rat?
Oh, rat.
I just read a thing while I was sat there. You read news and stuff, and when you go, aren't animals amazing? So this was a thing about they've trained rats and send them in with little rucksacks on into collapsed buildings to find survivors. And they've trained the rats that when they find a survivor, they trigger a little button that lets them know there's a survivor in there, and then the rat can come back and gets a treat for it.
It's crazy, isn't it? That have you seen the ones that they're trained to sniff out landmines and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've seen
Insane.
I'm like, animals are just immense, aren't they?
Imagine being stuck in a pile of rubble though after a thing, and then a rat finding you, pressing a button, and being like, "Help is on the way." You'd be like, "What the fuck? Have I died?"
You've been in like an earthquake or whatever, and all you're ever going to talk about is the rat wearing a rucksack.
100%. The rat that actually saved your life.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be able to be a pest controller anymore if a rat saved my life. I'd have to change my job.
I would. Yeah.
Feel too shan when I'd feel too shan. Oh, right. Yeah. I've come back down. Right. Perfect stuff. So what I wanted to ask you about then is, just before we got cut off there, you said about bits of the sport that you don't like and stuff that you would like to change. Let's look into that a little bit more then.
So it's kind of... Oh, apologies, dog.
Dog didn't like that one. Don't like strongmen.
I don't know why he's grumbling, but he's having a grumble. It's not so much I don't like. I think it's just a different viewpoint on things. It's around the prize money thing,
right?
So I absolutely think it's awesome that the sport is starting to get prize money. I think that's brilliant. It's great news. It's a great thing. What I think I don't necessarily like is the expectation of that prize money, in terms of how big it should be and how much we should get, and demanding and whatever. And that comes a little bit from, it's an amateur sport. It's a hobby for most people.
Yeah.
I know everyone goes, oh, I'm a pro, or I've got a pro card, or I'm doing this. It's like bullshit. I'm sorry.
Pro cards don't exist in my mind.
It's a concept that's given out by, trying to legitimize a sport, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But given the randomness of awarding a pro card and stuff, and the criteria and things like that, and we don't have it over here, so it only really works if you're in America. I think the amount of people in this sport that are pros, and if I'm looking at the women, it is very limited, because most of them kind of, it's still a secondary thing to their life. They might focus on it a lot, but it's not their primary thing. They don't get up every morning to train, to live their day for training.
Yeah.
They live their life, and then training fits in.
Yeah.
And that's the difference of what makes yoga pro. So you look at pro athletes in like Olympic sports and things like that, that's a different thing. At the top level, obviously, you've got a lot of Olympic athletes who still go to work and do everything.
Yeah.
You don't get paid prize money at the Olympics. It's the pinnacle of the sport. You don't get prize money. You go there because you're looking to achieve that. To get to the Olympics is one of the hardest things you can do in your known sport. And by getting there and performing, that's the accolade that you're getting, to be the Olympic champion or the world champion. off the back of it, you may get sponsors if you act in a professional way. Your governing body, if it's an Olympic sport, tend to give you grants and things like that, and that does help in that way. But if we want like strong woman to grow in that way, we have to contribute to that growth as well.
Yeah.
And to do that, the pathways have to grow all the way up, and people have to go and compete. So, at OSG, there are a lot of people there, and I know it's more American based because of the location. But the reality is, if you move it to Europe, you're not going to get the Americans coming as much.
Yeah.
They're contributing more to it. Then there's going to be even less prize money if you try and move it somewhere. So people need to just be a bit more pragmatic about the sport. Be demanding, give feedback, be helpful, but don't criticize. It's all too easy to criticize. People are trying to grow the sport, whether it's for their own purposes or not. Some people are in it as a business.
Yeah.
But even if they're in it as a business, they're still contributing to the growth of the sport.
Yeah.
So I urge, women, go and do the comps, do the pathways, get up there, get visible, do these events. You'll learn more from doing them. Keep progressing, keep trying, save up and go to OSG. It might not have a big audience. It might not be a Giants live show. It might not be the Arnolds, but trust me, you'll learn from it. And you should do it. And don't go there on the expectation of winning prize money. Go there because you want to be the best in the world at your sport.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a really cool way to put it as well, because I've never thought about it in the way of like the Olympics being the top level of the sport that they're in, say, and no one gets paid for that, but nowhere would you turn down an Olympic opportunity because of the like what you would get from it and being able to say, oh, I went to the Olympics. And I think that's the hard thing in strongman, because we don't really have that highest standard. Like realistically, our highest standard for that is OSG as a weight class athlete anyway. And that because the like, I think the issue is with OSG is because it's so open for so many people to be able to compete in it, you do get the highest standard of athlete, but there's massive barriers for entry, one with the cost, and then two with the fact that there's everybody in it. So you could have like 30, 40 people in your class. Half of that class is going to be not at the world standard, and we've had this conversation before with Chloe, and she said like it needs to be harder to get there so that competition can be held to a higher standard. But again, devil's advocate on that, if they do that limits the amount of money that business can make
for now, except that it's there. If those people choose to go there and not make a rep, not do anything, they're going to come last. They're going to be in the bottom half. But if they can afford it and go and do it, they will probably grow themselves. They'll help contribute to the sport. I mean, I'll give it, and I'm sure she won't mind me saying, Maria was one. So 20,
I've done it before too.
20, yeah, actually, you had the same thing. I remember you trying to move the bloody farmers.
Yeah, I did the opens. Yeah, it was terrible.
But you go there, and then you went away and went, that sucked. Like, I paid a lot of money and it sucked. And what did it do? Made you work your ass off. Yeah. So next time you go back to OSG, you're going for a podium.
Yeah.
Maria was coming back going, I want to be in the finals. You keep pressing. So it doesn't really matter if you've got a lower standard as long as you've got the highest standard always there. And for me, that's probably the other bugbear is, and this is a controversial one, Rogue and Arnold's. Amazing. So pleased. I mean, I went to the Rogue. It was phenomenal. Seeing the women on that stage, just outstanding. Seeing them get the same prize money as the men, brilliant. The downside is we don't have as many women in the sport.
Yeah.
Out of those girls that did Rogue, only one girl went to OSG, Becca.
Yeah.
What that does is it starts to dilute the sport.
Yeah.
So it creates a divide, a split in the sport of the Arnolds and Rogue athletes and everyone else. Now I get why they do it. Two things. One, it was very close together and the road heavy and hard. So, you're trying to train for two top level competitions that are going to be held within a month of each other.
Yeah.
Rogue, you've got a shit ton of prize money, which is a very big pull for people.
Yeah.
But what that means was then you would start seeing people going, oh, there isn't the quality at OSG. So the girls that come second or third are like, oh, and you go, but they might have come second or third if those girls were there as well.
Yeah, you don't know that.
Get to pitch themselves against it.
Yeah.
And we're going to have that divide because it's so almost impossible to get to Arnold or Rogue.
Yeah.
They'll never get to pitch. So you're going to end up with the Rogue athletes and everyone else.
Yeah.
And for me, that creates a divide in the sport.
Yeah.
You'll always have questions of going, oh, is that person as good as that person? Well, you don't know because you never see them. They won't get together. And the problem, I think, is the organisations aren't talking to each other because why would Rogue talk to anyone else? They don't care. They're massive.
Yeah.
The people organising it don't necessarily see that they need to potentially refresh the athletes more. It's not saying those aren't the best in the world, but consider different routes for qualification and everything.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point for all of this is I think with the Rogue and with the Arnold, there isn't a clear qualifying route. Your qualifying route is you just need to be well known in this sport, and that is, but how do you do that? How do you go about that? For someone who's brand new, like I'm at this point now, and I know you're the same as well, where like you've done a little bit, well, you've done fucking loads. So like, where's your next step to get those invites? How do you get to that next point to get the invite to the Rogue, to get the invite to Arnold? Because it's not clear. You can go to the Arnold Amateurs, win the Arnold Amateurs. That doesn't mean that you're going to the Pro Show next year.
They've said that now that it's back to that route. So it was always an informal thing.
Yeah.
Then this year they've now said it's formal, and they have taken Jennifer, who won last year. She beat me last year.
Yeah.
But in previous years, it was the amateur, so you had to win the amateur to get to the Pro Show, and if they chose to take you, which they didn't always choose, and a lot of people had to fight. Jennifer had to fight this year to get that invite.
Yeah.
But now they're saying that's going forward, and they opened it up to a Pro Show, which is good because you previously, I think there's a bit of thing that I think Jennifer had been a pro, so theoretically she couldn't come back and compete at the amateurs.
Yeah.
And technically I would have been the same. I was classed as a pro, which meant I couldn't go back to fight for the spot. It was one spot only.
Yeah.
And that's quite difficult because if there's the way they're doing that, and because they only have so many athletes at the Arnolds, if one spot goes in, one goes out. So that's very difficult. So you've got who goes out. Is it the person last year? Is it the person who, got there has been there the longest? I get the difficulties there. I'm not saying I've got any fixes for it.
Yeah.
I think Rogue is different because it is an invitational. Yeah. So there isn't. They can invite who they want, and I get that.
Yeah.
But if they invite all the men, most of those men still go and do World's Strongest Man because that's the accolade they want. They want Strongest Man on Earth, Arnold Champion, or World's Strongest Man. Yeah. But there's enough depth of them to keep that going.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And we don't have that yet.
No. And I think as well, like, obviously because with Worlds, so like OSG Worlds, for the men's opens, that's like a qualifier to get into big leagues, Giants Live, World's Strongest Man, like the proper stuff. Whereas for the women, like OSG Worlds, that is our Worlds currently, and it's because I think it's not got the prestige that World's Strongest Man has. That's why all these women who are like in the pro circuit don't want to almost step back down to OSG Worlds, and it totally makes sense to me. Like, I think if I was in the same position, I also wouldn't want to do it because like you said, you've got the opportunity to win big bucks at the Rogue, big bucks at the Arnold, or $2,000 at OSG, and it's going to be hard fought as well because you have such a big competition floor of athletes at OSG that it is insane. But Donna had mentioned it in her podcast that I did with her, and unfortunately the internet cut out, so I didn't get to discuss it, but she said she would like to see a World's Strongest Woman being reinstated at a similar level to the men's.
I think it would be good, to get that standalone competition. to put that prestige and with a clear qualifying route to get there, so whether it's winning your countries or getting on a podium at certain competitions, whatever that route may be. The challenge you've got again is funding. Is where do you fund that? So if we look at Britain's Strongest Woman, brilliant. Giants have been running it. We're coming into our third year now of running Britain's Strongest Woman, and it's awesome. As women, we put on an amazing show.
Yeah.
And the tickets aren't particularly expensive. And you're in the UK, it's in York now. It's classed as the North, but you can still drive to York even from the South Coast, probably 4.5 hours. It's not the end of the earth. If you talk about Americans, most of them drive like 6-7 hours to comps. So, but it's just not getting attendance. We're not getting bums on seats. And women are going, oh, we want equality, we want the same. Well, buy a ticket, turn up, support the sport. The organisers aren't in there. They're not a charity.
No.
Darren and Colin and stuff, they're putting this show on to the same level as the men's.
Yeah.
We get the right size venue for the audience we're getting at the moment, and we're still not filling it.
Yeah.
And that's not because we're a lower level competition. This is the great competition.
Yeah.
But if they have to subsidise it every year,
they're not going to run it.
At some point they're going to go, well, as much as we love seeing the women and we want to promote the women, why would they keep putting their hands in their pocket to do it? So we just say, buy a ticket, save a bit, ask for it for birthday presents, do whatever. Come watch it, buy a ticket, come and watch it, see it in person, show the support's there. That will grow the support. And then who knows, Giants might go, we'll step up with official strongman and we might put on a world's strongest woman now.
Yeah. Well, that would be the ideal scenario, wouldn't it? So I'm just having a look now, because I know you said about the ticket prices. So I had to look at them the other day, actually. And for Brits, the cheapest ticket is 50 quid, which I think is too much. I think it's too expensive. I understand that it has to make money, but I think and I feel like when I went previously to Brits, it was not that expensive. Yeah. I was trying to find it there, but I can't find what I paid for it last time. But I don't think it was ever, I'm sure I spent like maybe 30, 40 quid a ticket or something like that when the first year that it went on. And 50 quid a ticket, it's expensive. And I understand that they've had to do that because last year they didn't get the attendance numbers. Yeah. So the tickets are more expensive because they need, then it's less people to buy the tickets. They'll still make some money out of it. But I feel like while I think they do a bit of promotion, I do think they could do a lot more promotion for the women's side. But again, I feel like on the other side of that, the women have to be able to self-promote too. Because I think that's the biggest issue, is there's a lot of women out there who aren't doing anything to promote themselves.
So I sort of messaged Giants and stuff and said, here's some ideas of promotion. As the women competing, we need to do more. Whether it's on social media, whether it's attending other events, going out to places, handing out flyers, do whatever it needs to be. Because that's our contribution to being able to compete there. Don't just accept it and sort of take it for granted. But equally, we need people to come because that's where the revenue comes. So, women shouting about equality, and then, if you can't come every year, I say 50 quid sounds like a lot of money, and I know it is a lot of money for a lot of people, but if you want to really drive it forward and you're a person that either thinks in the long term you might want to get there, if you want to get there in the long term, it needs to be there. It will only be there if it makes money.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we've seen it already happen. I know that I don't think Ultimates have any women's competitions on this year at all. They've just sacked it completely off, which, I mean, there's a lot of other reasons going in behind that, I think, but I think the main issue will have been that they didn't believe that the women were able to create enough revenue for that to be sustainable.
And it is true at the moment, because and it's sad because it's pound for pound, women are probably more impressive. Same with weight classes in the men's. It's but to a person outside of the sport, we mostly just look slightly angry, scruffy people lifting something that looks moderately heavy.
Yeah.
Whereas you watch Eddie Hall doing a 500 kilo deadlift, it's like, oh my God, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So the comparative of that is very difficult to make. So we have to make it more of a show. We have to make it more impressive. We have to put on more of a show so that people understand it. We talk about the deadlift with Lucy. One of the things I said about the fact that it was only Lucy going last year, and I understood why, and obviously I wanted to go. And there's two sides to it. One, sending the women there wasn't going to generate any more bums on seats, and it was getting a profile because Lucy's going there and she's so standalone it stands out.
Yeah.
To people in the sport, if you had an outside person just buy a ticket to go and see that show, and they see Lucy lifting 325 kilos, and the blokes are there doing 455, aiming for 500. You're looking at Lucy and you're going, well, that looks really impressive.
Yeah.
But how comparatively impressive that is. If you put the next three best women in that same show, and we're all pulling 305, 310, you see just how exceptional Lucy is.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree.
You get a metric scale of the awesomeness of it.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of difference when you see someone doing something exceptional. If you've not got a scale to measure it against, now in the sport we all know that, externally people don't.
No, yeah, 100%. I agree, and I think as well, I feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity because there was so many people that were around that 300 kilo mark, which would have made it such an exciting competition to watch because it's everything's on the line, isn't it? Like that person misses, someone else goes, you've got the opportunity to do it. Like there was, I feel like a little bit of a missed opportunity there for Giants potentially.
I get why, again, because at the moment they're saying, well, we're not getting the support for Brits and other shows. OSG Europe's wasn't particularly well attended.
Yeah.
So why are we going to pay money to send these women to compete on this stage when the people that are coming to see the men?
Yeah.
It's not suddenly going to go, here's another 1,000 people just because the women are coming.
No, yeah.
What we do is help grow the sport, and it is growing the sport. It's amazing. I just think as women, I know that there's loads of us pushing to try. We're never going to get that close to Lucy. Like no one's got close to Eddie and Thor as yet. But they're getting closer. But the equivalent target we were set was the equivalent of the men lifting 487, I think, to qualify.
Yeah.
Like no one even hit that in the comp, so they're not qualifying.
No.
So we just have to keep working and keep promoting,
100%.
Do our best, make the sport, as big as we can.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think as well, if you look at the men and how they self-promote. So I know a lot of your World's Strongest Men, stuff like that. Think of how many of them have YouTube channels and how many of them are self-promoting. And they've got money behind them and they can make it a bit more of their full-time job. But YouTube is free. This stuff that like what we're doing now, it's relatively free to do.
Yeah.
And all we need is a few more women to do this and pull that Gen Pop audience in.
Yeah.
As we're quite interesting, weird personalities, a lot of us. Here, look, come and listen to this podcast, come to a show, come to do this.
Yeah.
And it'll work. It needs more of us to take that initiative and go, yes, let's set up a YouTube. Yes, let's do this. Let's put a bit more of our lives out there. Let's make ourselves internet personalities, which no one wants to fucking do. But to grow the sport, that's what we're going to have to do.
I said is one of the things is obviously Giants focus on the good girls, the well-known girls. I said they need to build personalities for all of the women. So if you can start to get those personalities and stuff out there, it drags people along because they're intrigued to see it. They want to see what's going on. Chloe's the prime example of that. She's got a massive following and Dinny Stones and stuff, but she's got this online and this vibe about herself. And people come and see Funky Chloe and do that.
Yeah.
We've got a different niche and something, that might pull people in. For me, I get so much support from the more mature ladies. And men actually, and kind of, and that, I like to think I've had quite a big impact on the master side coming through more as more women are like seeing that it's possible to do that. You don't have to curl up and give up, and you can still fight some of the youngsters at times.
Yeah.
And I think if you get that personality out there, but you need to have the platform, and it's very different when you've got a couple of thousand followers who are all friends. They're just like, well, we know she's weird, and we know she likes heavy shit. You need the promotion from externals to kind of get that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think it's moving in the right direction, isn't it? It's just a case of time now, and letting other women sort of step up and get a bit of a presence.
Sometimes it's the screw ups that help us, like Rosie's sandbag screw up.
Yep.
Massive.
Huge. Viral.
Yeah. Paddy's getting with his car flip was like, it sort of made him a sensation and stuff. Paddy's an amazing strongman and everything, but it took people saying he was fake flipping a car to build like a big profile for him. But you look at all the guys; they've all got like names, Hurricane, they've the Beast, whatever, and they've got names and stuff, and they've all got character, and everyone knows about them. They know about them. People need that for the women.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we need to just build personalities or build on personalities that are already in this sport. 'Cause it's wild. It's so interesting. The people are so interesting. I said this, like, if someone had the time and the effort and wanted to put like a Netflix documentary together about strong women, it would be insane. It would hit the right market straight away. And yeah, it might be a bit of bad publicity, but like I've said previously, at this point now in strongman, any publicity is good publicity.
Well, you've got the Strong Woman one that came out last month before that.
Yeah, with Chloe and them.
I think that's getting launched on YouTube. I want to say the end of this week, maybe next week, and there'll be a big push off the back of that. Like, because obviously Chloe, Andrea and Lucy, and it. From what I know, I've not seen, but what I know, it's not just about them lifting heavy things. It's about being a strong woman.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll bring more insight. And if we can get that out to more people to see what it's like, and, that would be a good thing and help people, motivate people to come along and watch.
100%. Yeah. I'd hope by the time this podcast is out, that is out. So if that is the case, I'll link it below. But yeah, fingers crossed it's out and we can sort of get it pushed. But
the 25th, I'd have to look at the date of that.
I'll find out. I'll ask Chloe and find out.
It's on the 21st, so that's today.
Today?
Apparently, it's going live on the 21st on the Giants Live YouTube.
Ooh, interesting. I'll have a look then. I'll have a look and see, but yeah, hopefully it'll be out and I'll link it into this anyway. But yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, Claire. That's been so interesting. I feel like we've gone right off tangent, but that doesn't matter.
It's cool.
How these podcasts always go. I'm like, it'll only take an hour, and then we're here for like an hour and a half. I'm like, oops.
It's just not bad. Also, as someone who works at home, I talk to the dog a lot.
It's going to be a nice break, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of variety for a change. Otherwise, poor Ryan comes home and I'm just like, blah, 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 at him.
Got so many things to talk about.
He's like, no. It's pretty cool. It's nice to have a chat.
Awesome. Right, well, on to our final section then, because I won't let you get away without doing a silly goose. Okay. So we'll do our silly goose section. Our silly goose song will go in here.
Silly goose. It's silly goose time, where our lips get loose and our minds run free. Silly goose. It's silly goose time, where we chat a load of shit that's of absolutely no use. It's silly goose time.
First off, do you have a silly goose for the table?
I don't know.
That's fine. You're absolutely fine. I always give people the opportunity in case they've got a little bug to bear, but it's fine. I've got plenty for you. So my first one that I've actually just thought of while we were sat here talking, I've got another one as well. But the first one is, if there was any sport that you could do and get to the top level of that you haven't done before, what would you want to try?
Oh, my word. probably something with shit tons of money in it, so like tennis or something. But I'm so uncoordinated at that. You know what? It would be something random like gymnastics or just something so far from what I would be capable of doing.
That's literally exactly what I was thinking as well. Gymnastics. Yeah, I would love to try gymnastics and be like the top of that. It just looks so cool, doesn't it?
Yeah, to be graceful and elegant, which is the polar opposite of everything I do.
Yeah. Yeah, it is the complete opposite of strongman. Do you know what another good thing I would like to be at the top of? And I feel like you're either at the top or you're dead in this sport as well. There's no in between. Is that wingsuit flying?
Oh no, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I'd like to try that, but I also feel like I would just die.
Yeah, so like cliff diving, high diving, things like that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that'd be pretty epic.
Have you ever done a skydive?
No.
That's a shock. That I feel like you're a skydiving person.
Yeah, it's probably one of those things that just never found the time. The one thing that I haven't done in life that I very much want to do, and I don't know if I'm too old, is climb big mountains. I'm very passionate about mountains. Like the place that gives me the whole zen and calmness is sitting on the top of a mountain. So I would very much like to climb a big mountain.
You'll have to just go on a day with me and Jenny and Chloe one day, because we like climbing mountains. Me and Chloe are terrible at it.
I mean, I'm talking like...
like Everest.
Yeah, genuinely.
Fuck that, no.
Yeah, no, I've looked into it and stuff and what I would need to do in that. So, yeah.
I'd have no doubt as well that if you wanted to do that, you would just do it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Would you not be scared about dying on Everest, though?
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point. No, terrifying.
Yeah.
Interesting. Right, so my other silly goose then is, well, actually I've got two because I've thought of another one there while I've been talking to you for that one. I'll do my first one first though. So would you rather lose an arm or a leg?
A leg.
Why?
I think prosthetic legs now, the functionality of them, and how well they work, you can still get around a lot with your arms and stuff, but once you've got a prosthetic leg, you'd still work with it. Having been incapacitated, I have a femoral nail, so I have a pin from my hip to my knee inside my bone, inside my femur. And knowing what it's like to be like incapacitated like that, there was times then where I was like, just chop the leg off, I'll be better without it.
Oh God.
Yeah. I know Ryan felt the same thing when he snapped his quad. Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, I feel like you would after a quad snap. That's intense, that like, isn't it? You haven't had any injuries really, touch wood, from strongman, have you?
Not many public injuries. I have
secret injuries.
One of the things I try to be, I'm a very optimistic person.
Yeah.
And I'm always look for the positives in things. So I've had injuries. I not attended, but I tore my bicep quite badly last year and stuff. But I'm kind of like, people don't, like, they might want to hear about bits of it in the recovery and stuff, but generally there's enough of that out there. And I think if I started and opened the floodgates of the injuries I have, I mean, I've got, I don't know if you can see my fingers and stuff. I snapped my finger last year.
Oh my God.
That is now my finger. That's how it looks.
Forever.
Does not work.
No, I can't imagine it does.
So then it's not a bad injury, but god damn, it's annoying.
Yeah, I bet it is, yeah. Nightmare on farmers.
Weirdly, it does affect my deadlift. Picking up sandbags when you catch it on you because it's stuck out like that.
Yeah.
That I was very nearly sick when it did that. Caught it on my shoe. But it's, at the end of the day, it's just a finger. I've got other broken fingers and stuff. It's right.
You are just so hardcore. I feel like you're the only person I never hear whinge about injuries at all. Like, you're the best person for if you are injured to come and talk to you because you're just like, be all right.
You reach a certain age, you kind of go, like, people say to me about, like, some of the problems I've got going on at the moment, that they're like, take some time out. I'm too old to take time out.
I've got time.
Yeah, I've not got time for that. Yeah.
No, that's fair. Right, well, final one, and I won't keep you any longer. This is just out of my own pure curiosity. So what is the scariest thing you've ever done?
Scariest? Oh, my word.
Yeah, when you've been genuinely terrified, what's the scariest thing? And it can be like, I just want to know when you've been the most scared in your life.
Holy shit. I don't.
It's a loaded question, sorry. It's just because you're such a daredevil, though. Like, I need to find out.
Random stuff. Which at that, for a nanosecond, I'd give you a nanosecond of fear. But
yeah.
So I abseiled off a building on a mountain bike face first. But because obviously you're on the bike, it was for a charity thing. Someone else is controlling the descent. So you're on a bike looking down a sheer building, it was 130 foot or something. And I'm thinking, if they let go now, I am dead.
Yeah.
That's pretty scary. I've done some pretty random, like off-piste snowboarding in places where I thought if I crash here now, I'm probably dead.
Yeah.
But it's probably bike racing. Sitting on the start line on the Isle of Man, and it was like the fastest straight, I think, like of any like road circuit and that. And literally just thinking, I'm coming into this corner at like 180 mile an hour or whatever.
That's insane.
Yeah. I can't think of any one moment where I've like thought,
been actually scared. I feel like because of your personality, I understand that you probably don't. Like, probably just scared and then you're like, be alright.
Yeah.
Be fine.
It's like, what's the worst you can happen? You die. It's like, if I don't know anything about it, do I? Yeah.
Not going to be bothered anyway, am I?
Yeah. So as long as I don't burn to death, I think I'll be all right.
Yeah, I think burning to death would be probably the worst case scenario, I think.
Yeah.
It wants to be fast.
Yeah.
Over and done with. I don't want no suffering.
Yeah, definitely. We've been watching. Did you watch the Lockerbie program?
No.
Yeah, so watching the Lockerbie is really good. Well worth watching. But they, because it exploded in the air and they plummeted to the ground strapped to their seats, and with the distance and whatever, some of them would have been coming to the ground for about 15 seconds. We were kind of going, you hope that because of the altitude you were like out before you plummeted to the ground in your death.
Yeah.
Much.
No, 15 seconds is a long time to contemplate your death, innit?
Yeah.
Too long.
Yeah.
No. Oh well, that's a morbid end to that conversation.
I'm fascinated by plane crashes and things like that. I'm a very peculiar person.
I like to learn about them, but also I like flying, and I don't want to ruin that for myself because I'm already a little bit nervous. It's not my favourite thing to do because it's very out of your control, and I like being fully in control of my environment.
No, I love flying. I love a good bit of turbulence. Oh, that's like, but that's the thing, isn't it? That buzz. Yeah, it's like the what if.
No, can't relate.
I do like that, yeah.
You're just crazy. You're absolutely crazy, but I love you so much. This has been so much fun, Claire. Thank you very much. Have you got any final words for the podcast?
No, just come and watch Brits.
Come and watch Brits, yeah. You've heard it here. I'll make sure this episode's probably going to go out like beginning of February time, so it'll still be plenty of time to buy your tickets and get yourselves there. So, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. See everyone there.
Thank you very much for being here, Claire. See you later. Bye. Thanks for listening to this episode of Strongwoman Highs, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to support the podcast, then please give us a follow on Instagram. Or if you would like, we're also on buymeacoffee.com/Strongwoman Highs. This is where you can send us tips, or you can also join our membership area, which is $5 a month or £4 a month. It's the silly Gosling level. We'll post out any extra content that we get on there, and hopefully a few little like free giveaways of things as well. The podcast currently doesn't cost a lot to run, which is what we're trying to keep it as, but we would like to be able to cover our costs, and also once those costs are covered, any profit that is made on Strongwoman Highs will be getting saved up and put into a pot for future Strongwoman competitions that we can sponsor. So if you have a Strongwoman competition that you'd like to be sponsored, or if you want to be on the podcast, then give us a shout, send me a message on Instagram or on YouTube, anywhere else you can get us, and we'll get it sorted, because the more women that we can get on, the better. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye!